Peace and blessings. This is Nubia I of the Blackberry Beauty Holistic Academy, Ancient African Healing for the Modern Sister. So today is a Saturday and I'm actually getting ready to go to the farmer's market and just run all my errands that I usually run on Saturday, me and my man. And I rarely make a video on Saturday, but I was really feeling it. You know, I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to kind of go back to basics, as we're hearing a lot of YouTubers say, and kind of go back to talking about the things that excited me in 2009 when I started this channel, and those things that still, those very same things that still excite me, like healing and manifesting and going deep within and healing ourselves. Like those things still really excite me. And I was thinking about this idea of the winter solstice that we're about to enter, depending on where you are in the world. If you are in the United States of America and other parts, we are entering into the winter solstice. And for those that may not know what that is, I mean, basically we're entering into the next season. We're entering into the next phase. And so for us, it's called the winter solstice. And I was thinking about what that means for us on a metaphysical, spiritual level. And just a reminder, I know many of you have rituals that you do, rites that you do, maybe goals that you set, things that you create, ceremonies that you may have, coming together as women, womb circles. Like, this is a very powerful woman time because it is out of all the 4 seasons, and I'm just going to say the 4 that we identify, at least on this side of the hemisphere, is we identify 4 seasons. And whether they're right or wrong, it's okay. It doesn't matter. I think it's more of the idea. I look at the seasons representing kind of the seasons in our lives, the kind of moods and experiences and times in our lives, that cycle, those things that come all the time, that like our cycle that came every 25 to 28 days, right? Or whatever it is that we naturally always get, our hair will grow in a certain time, like maybe faster during the summer than the winter. We have these cycles that we go through, cycles of life, from puberty, to menstruating woman, to giving birth woman, to menopausal woman, to crone woman. Like all these cycles in a woman's life, birth, death, and then rebirth. And I feel like the solstice really represents that birth, death, and rebirth more than any other season, because it is the one that is going to be, or has the potential to be, the most difficult to get through, but also it has the potential to be the most rewarding to get through. Because this is where you do your grunt work. This is the dark, this is the dank, this is the musty, this is the humid, this is the cold. This is that time where you actually don't start something new. But for me, it's almost like finishing or beginning or learning something that you needed to know. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things, what I mean by that. I feel like the winter solstice is about going in deeply. And in that, I think it's about studying, becoming more educated, whether it's formal education or informal education, whether it's taking a course like the course I'm teaching, So You Want to Be an Entrepreneur, Spiritual Perspective, the intensive, or taking a Yoni A class, or taking a Yoni STEAM certification program. I mean, whatever it is, learning more about crystals, but it's about studying and getting very deep. It's about taking this time that it's winter, so it's colder, it gets darker earlier, all these things that winter brings. It's the weather usually doesn't permit you to have very many outer activities or external activities, so it's really time for us to do this internal activities. So that's definitely, if you ever wanted to change your life, usually when people want to change their lives, they kind of know what to do in order to change their lives. It's how to do it. Or it's them having to do it alone, or maybe they need a little coaching. But most people know what they want. So let's say that, again, let's talk about this idea of you wanting your own business. The winter solstice is the time to do the grunt work. It's the time to first establish what is your business. how can that business be marketed to the right person? Basically, where's your tribe? Who is your tribe? What kind of communities can you create right now? Do you need to create products and services like ebooks? Do you need to create digital downloads? Do you need to create DVDs, CDs? Do you need to create more videos? This is that time. So this is the time not to give birth to exactly what you wanted. It's the gestation time. It's the carrying of the baby. It's the nourishing and nurturing. And it's the learning as you go along. So it's a great time for studying. It's a great time for taking courses. It's a great time for going back to school. It's a great time for reading a lot. It's a great time for educating yourself and getting an understanding. And you know how you're going to get a full understanding of what you're learning during the winter solstice is by practicing it on yourself. So this is also the time to do that experimentation. Experimenting with castor oil packs, experimenting with arnica or arnica gel on your knee, experimenting with oil flushing or oil pulling, rather. I say oil flushing, but they call it oil rinsing, but it's definitely gives the body a flush. Exploring these things and seeing what you love and what works for you and what does not. And it's also a time, I was thinking too, for many of us, we want to go into the new year more prosperous. I think that that's the biggest thing that people hope their new year brings. More prosperity and abundance, whether there's abundance in their wanting to reach their weight goals or their fitness goals, but a lot of times it's wanting to reach their financial goal. I think we understand that reaching our financial goals will enable our lives to be a lot easier. It will allow us to have more freedom, to travel, to pay for the things that we need. Pay for that Yoni Steaming certification. Pay for a Blackberry Beauty Holistic Academy class. Pay for, Yoni Egg class. Like we know and understand that money is not the enemy, don't we? I hope that we do. And that money is, how do we bring more of it? And then my next intensive, my January intensive, the first day is January 1st. I looked at the date. It starts Friday, January 1st, always the first Friday of the month. It's called So You Want to Be an Entrepreneur, a Spiritual Perspective. I want to tie that a lot into the winter solstice and why dealing with your money and your finances and feeling more secure in that area is a great time to do that while in the winter solstice. So the next 3 months are a crucial time for sowing seeds, planting seeds rather, and sowing seeds and then reaping from that harvest in the spring. And so I was thinking about this idea of wealth, especially generational wealth. There's a wonderful DVD going around. I think his name is Lamar and Ronnie Tyler Presents, and it's called Generation One, and it's a wonderful CD. It has Dr. Boyce Watkins in it. It has Dr. Julian Malveaux. It has all these others. Another brother, I forget his first name, his last name is Anderson. This brother is kicking it. I love the CD. I'll do my best to link it, but it's a great CD. Just look up Generation One by Lamar and Ronnie Tyler, Tyler, and it's called Generation One. But I've been reading, always have, but especially lately, more about, actually I read a lot about money, but from every aspect, from a spiritual, metaphysical aspect, from a practical aspect, from an investing aspect, in every way, And I was really, and the movie that I was watching, this DVD, talked about these 4 elements of truly having wealth. Let me first say something about wealth. Wealth is not about how many dollars or how much money or how much cash that you have. Because there's a lot of people that make a lot of money that don't invest it, that don't buy land or purchase their own home, or not able to send their children to school without debt. Or there's so many people who have a lot of money, but they spend it all. Because it's still, to me, especially our people, first money for us is, now I can keep up with the Joneses. Now I can look like I'm richer than I really am. Now I can, and I understand that. I'm doing an intensive right now, the December one, post-traumatic slave syndrome. I understand that idea, that need to feel like I'm dignified, I'm beautiful, look at me, I'm respectable. Something I feel like we've been fighting for or against, depending on how you look at it, for so long because of the enslavement Holocaust, this need to make everybody else think that we're something that to be respected, when in actuality, you'll be more respected if you had a $50,000 a year and used that more wisely than if you had $100,000 a year and you spent that frivolously. So it's a mindset. It's not about how much money or how great your credit is. Although this is the things you're going to learn in the entrepreneur course is, yes, our credit score, we can get the credit score up, and it's easy to do. It's not hard, and I want to give you tips on how to do that. Saving money, oh my God, easiest thing in the world to do. Again, so you want to be an entrepreneur. Those things that matter. So when you get the money and you start making money from your business, you now know what to do with it. You won't be out of business in no time, and a constant growing and creativity. But the reason why I think that this summer solstice is the best time to do it is, I have this idea that the summer solstice is about working on what you have right now, rather than thinking about the new year as starting a new venture, right? Or sometimes it's a new old venture, like trying to lose weight or, saving up for that vacation that you always want to go to. I wouldn't look at it as maybe starting something new. I would look at it as completing the old. So for a lot of you, I know that you want your own business. I know that you are spiritual or believe in spirituality, even if you don't always feel like you're bringing it to your business. I know your brand of business is unique. I know you want to help yourself and help others. Like, I know that this is something you've been wanting to do forever. 2016, 2, 6, and 1, numerology, if you add it up, it represents 9. 9 is completion. 2016 is really about completing that. If you wanted to buy that home, buy it. Completing that if you wanted to buy that land, buy it. Completing those things. And so let me go back to the film, the documentary Generation 1. It talked about the 4 areas of wealth building. Things that if you have this, you are truly building wealth, as opposed to just making a lot of money, but the money's going nowhere. You're losing it. And first thing is to own land. Second one is to own your own home. The third one is to own your own business, to have your own business. And the fourth one is annuities or stocks and bonds and other investments. Those are like the 4 pillars, if you will, of wealth. And when you have those, regardless of how much money you have, if you own land, you have wealth. That's something that you can use. It's collateral. If you own a house, you have equity. That's something you can pull out and buy something else. If you own your own business, you're in charge of your own destiny. You're not limited to the once a year raise or the evaluation you have to pass to even get the raise. You constantly are evaluating yourself. You're constantly raising yourself, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, metaphysically. You're constantly doing that. But I realize so many people that I even had the opportunity even to work with, we're so afraid of money. We're so afraid to ask for it. We're so afraid to believe we should have it. Even to have these conversations, it scares us sometimes. I'm saying let's face the fear. Let's take this intensive. So you want to be an entrepreneur, spiritual perspective, because you might need the depthness of the winter solstice, to going this deep within, in order to finally, once and for all, start that business. And finally, but more importantly, once for all, get rid of all the things that are stopping you or impeding you from starting that business. Like, that's what I'm about. It's this natural healing. And I want to thank everybody for the congratulations on the land. Y'all, it's a big deal, but not for me. It shows that all of us can do it. That's why I think this January intensive, so you want to be an entrepreneur, a spiritual perspective, is so important. I think that there's things that's missing. Let's face it, as African, at least Americans, and maybe Africans in the diaspora, other parts of diaspora as well, I didn't see generational wealth. No one I knew actually owned land, and that I knew, maybe some family member did and I didn't know it, but I wasn't connected to that. Buying a house, actually my aunt bought a house, but it was not something that everybody in my family did, and we need to. Having your own business, okay, that was I didn't see that one at all. I didn't see my auntie or my grandmother them having their own business. Many of you have. But if you've seen it, let's say that you grew up with your mom maybe making jewelry or being a yoga instructor or even a dancer, making a living, but actually not really making a living, struggling doing her own business. That can mess you up as well. So we want to see people, black people having their own businesses that are successful, that are constantly changing and growing and not stuck in a way. But actually at this point, starting it and having it would just be great. But it was something that I did not see. So for me, what inspired me was when I went to earlier January 2015, early this year, when I went to North Carolina to do that workshop with LaShonda Henry of SisterSense.com. She helps people make sense of doing business, and she's a wonderful workshop. But I really thought I was there just to learn this tech stuff, which I didn't even, I'm not a good student when it comes to technical stuff. I'm not that great at it, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. But it was really to meet a sister that was already in my group who ran with the womb and said, I heard you talking about you wanted to buy land. Well, I have 10 acres of land, and I'm building a house on it. And as she met me, I never met her before in my life. When she met me, took me to her home where she was presently living, and then took me on the land, or took me on the land first, to walk on this 10 acres of land with this beautiful black woman, married to a beautiful black man, who are not super duper rich, but got it. I think he's a scientist, and she was in marketing, and but not super rich. Definitely good work, good jobs, but nothing extreme. And they built, and the house was built. It wasn't quite all ready, but it was built. It was a house you could walk in, and they did that. Just seeing it propelled me to having it. I think it's one thing to watch The Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous, or to watch International House Hunters and all these people that buy islands and the whole bit as an African person, a person of African descent. But when they don't exactly look like you, it's just, you can say, well, they're privileged, or they have an upper hand, or they're white, so they have more money. I mean, whatever you want, it's different. It seems removed from you. But when you meet a sister that look like you, that decided to buy this land and decided to put this house on, you go, I can do it too. So I want to inspire you, but I also want to show you how I believe that purchase came about, and how other ones and other things are coming. Because remember, I believe it's a spiritual perspective. There's something else going on. The ancestors are helping us. The ancestors are with us. They're not letting us down. They're not letting us go. We got to know that and open ourselves up to it. Now, think about the donation of $97 for this course, 4 weeks. You get a lot, but it starts the process. For many, it ends the process, of not having, but always wanting. So it starts the process of wanting, but it ends the process of not having. It matters, you matter, and I just want that to be spread. I think my message is definitely going to be about us moving forward, and that when we heal ourselves, it should reflect in our lives. We should, something that we wanted or needed should be presented to us. That's what you go by when you're taking a course or a class. Do you like the progress of that teacher? Do you see the change or the growth? Another thing too, this is the time to figure things out. I was thinking about this idea of raw foods and how, yes, quite honestly, yes, it is. I do feel more amazing. I do feel more energetic. I don't have pain in my body. I do heal faster when I eat raw foods. But my thing is, so first of all, I look at everything. When I'm craving cooked foods and I start to have it, what season is it usually? It's not spring or summer. It's usually end of fall, winter. So that says something to me that during that time, I need something else. But maybe the something else is not a physical something else. Maybe it's not cooked foods because of the side effects. Cooked foods give me the groundedness that I feel, but it leaves those terrible side effects, which is slow healing and not feeling as up and chipper or looking as bright, So my thing is, so winter is something, it requires more of me. Because I'm going in, we don't look at doing inner work as maybe exhausting or needing fuel to keep doing or thinking or creating, on a spiritual level. You need nourishment. But is it always physical if you're getting what you need nutritionally from the foods? And I realized that that's usually the time that I should be writing, during the end of the fall and beginning of the winter solstice, that's usually the time that I should probably be taking a course in something that I've never taken a course in. I should learn something new. That's the time that I should be cultivating relationships for me with other females on a deeper and intimate level. So I should be also cultivating a wonderful relationship with my man and my lover and my children. I feel like it wants me to go deep, and my mind, because we're so used to using food to solve everything, my mind goes to, let's eat cooked food during this winter, in the fall winter months. Maybe it needs to go to, let's create more, something new. Let's build something different. Let's strengthen something we already have. That's what I realized. I realized for 2016, for what I want for my business, and this is helping me going through the winter solstice, is I want to make what I have better. I want to make wild women who run with the womb, the best group ever. And there's things that I can do to make that. And I know it, and I'm willing to do it. I want to make my intensives even better and stronger. I want to respect and honor the people that love me, that continue to subscribe, to follow me, to support me. It shows. And I want to make sure your experience with the Blackberry Beauty is the best one that you could have. That's my duty. Yes, I like new customers. Yes, I like new opportunities. Those are coming when you grow and you change anyway. But my goal is to make you happier, to make you feel better. But more than that, what did I start the channel with? Inspiring you. It was about raw foods. So I'm going to do the inner work to work on this idea of raw foods and when I crave it and why. We need to know when we want something. Notice the time that you're in. The place, meaning the place where you might be living physically, but the place in life that you are. Maybe you're a mother like me whose daughters went to college. Maybe you're going through perimenopause or menopause. Realizing and remembering where you are and then adjusting to that, but also understanding that if what you are pursuing hurts you, physically, mentally, spiritually, if it holds you back, if it slows you down, and slow down is relative. That could still be good. It might not be for you. And so I understand that raw foods is what's making me stay alive and be intuitive and be happy and be joyful and be loving and be beautiful. But I'm also wondering how to fill that space of feeling I need to be more grounded. And I know that I will figure it out very soon. Anyway, y'all, this is my Saturday impromptu video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you will participate in the next intensive that starts January 1st, and it's called So You Want to Be an Entrepreneur, A Spiritual Perspective. This is Nubia I of the Blackberry Beauty Holistic Academy, Ancient African Healing for the Modern Sister. Peace and blessings.